Welcome to the island. I am your host, Alvis Samuel, and today we're going to continue on this part of A Nation Falling. And I want to start with a phrase that everyone should know by now, and everyone has at least heard this at least once in their life. In 1905, a man named George Santayana said these famous words: "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." These words were then echoed by Winston Churchill in 1948. Why am I starting this off this way? Why am I starting this episode off this way? It's because of one thing that's going on in this great nation of the United States. And this great nation is doing something that nations that rose to power then completely collapsed. This nation is doing their exact same thing that those other ones have done. And that is delete history. Try to make their citizens forget what has happened in the past. Try to make those who say things, who said things, those who stood up for certain things, and make the people of today forget those words, forget the phrases, forget the wars, forget history. Let's start this off by visiting what we've already done in the past, starting in 2018. There's a big uproar, a huge uproar on taking down statues of the past. And I get on one side why they wanted it down. I get on one side why they wanted these Confederate statues off the premises so people don't see them. So it doesn't look like that we're paying homage to all these guys, these Confederate soldiers, these Confederate generals. I get it. However, there's an issue that rose up out of that. And this issue was the complete tearing down of one's history. Just because you don't like what somebody did in the past, or just because you don't like a part of history, doesn't mean you need to tear it down. Instead, it needs to be shown that this stuff cannot be repeated. Because if we repeat this stuff, we will be doomed. This is something that has happened. We've all been taking down these statues, trying to get rid of them. Some of them got put in some museums. Some were just completely destroyed. Now, where has that led us to? That has led us to this thing called critical race theory. Or you can just strictly say reverse racism, or whatever you want to call it. How you don't want to deem one thing bad that happened in the past because of someone's race, but you don't understand that if you deem this not bad, and you're saying, well, this never happened, and then a person comes along and says, you know what, let's just completely take it away so people don't know this violent past, what do you think is going to start happening? Think about that. Ask yourself that question. Let's go back even further before 2018. And I'm pretty sure all the older generation around my parents' age, they're in their 60s. And older people in their 50s can probably remember this. But let's go back to when they took prayer out of school. They took prayer out of school. And in return, there's always been violence in school. Yes, I know. However, the violence in school has never been this bad in history. They took prayer out of school just to replace it with gun violence. You take things away that keeps the peace, that holds the peace, that lets people know that things have to keep improving. And the only way you can know that things are going to keep improving is by understanding where things came from. But as long as you keep on deleting the past, because someone's feelings got hurt, because somebody doesn't agree with what actually happened, because someone doesn't like the fact that people were slaves in this country. So they want to take these books out of the schools. They want to take these teachings out of the schools. We've already messed with the schools already, and what have we gotten in return? Gun violence. That's what we've gotten. And now we want to dabber into it even more and take away the history, our history. I'm not saying this as just a black person, but just as an American. The history of America. Where did we come from? How did we get to this point? And yet they want to tear that down. Why do they want to tear this history down? Why do they want to delete all of this history? We are in the month of February, the last day of February, February 28th. It's 2022. And here's a problem. Black History Month. And this is the last day of Black History Month, but I hope we keep it going throughout the year, throughout your life, just learning history, learning things. And I need people to understand this particular thing about deleting history, taking down statues, removing books, putting books on fire. Yes, there are some school districts around the nation that are actually trying to burn books because your feelings get hurt. And the government's going along with how long will this last before this nation falls and starts to repeat itself. And it's not just the schools, because this critical race theory problem trying to delete history is also going in your churches. It's also going in books that you believe are still the same, like the Bible. I've tested it out where I printed, well, no, I didn't print out a Bible, but when I read one passage in a Bible that was made in 1997, then I took the same passage in a Bible that was made in 2019. And they completely got rid of an entire verse in the Bible because it was too controversial. There are churches that don't want to be controversial. Schools don't want to be controversial because the truth actually is very controversial. The truth will eat at a person's spirit, at a person's soul. And when they are confronted with the truth, they can do one of two things. They can face it and agree, you know what, this is the truth, or they can hide and run from it and then start believing a lie. This is where we're at, and this is where we're headed. I've said this many times in the past before, that this nation has been falling and falling and falling. And we're now at the point in this nation where we now want to delete our history, where we want to forget about our history, not realizing what that is going to truly do in the future. It's crazy how just a few years go by after a person passes away, and if there is nothing written down so people can remember that person will be forgotten, even if that person is in your family. But let's just say your entire heritage has been written down and you have it. There are bad people in your family. There are good people in your family. But now let's go ahead and take out the names who are always bad in your family. Now you're saying that your entire family has always been good. And sooner or later, there's going to be someone born in your family that's going to repeat the bad things that just happened. And no one's going to know how to stop it because you took it out. Everyone's going to act like this is a new idea because we have forgotten the past. Now let's go ahead and go into what's going on right now. Right this very second. I know we've all heard on Ukraine and Russia invading Ukraine. We've all heard what's going on. We know what's going on. Russia is saying this in short. Russia is saying Ukraine has always belonged to Russia. This is Russia's past. and Russia wants to keep Ukraine. Technically, me personally, I don't believe that's true. As in, they want Ukraine to be a part of Russia. I don't believe it's true. I believe the words that Putin said, that he wanted a buffer between NATO and not America, but NATO and Russia. He wanted a big buffer. He does not want NATO at the doorstep of Russia. I believe that to be true. And what we don't understand about this history, and it's about to truly repeat itself, is that when you make a treaty with somebody or an agreement with somebody, and this agreement says we will not annex more and keep going further and further towards your doorstep, we will not have more countries coming into NATO from Europe. However, NATO decides that we don't care about our promise to you anymore. We're going to annex everybody. We're going to get as close to your doorstep as possible. Yes, this is what was actually done. In other words, NATO lied. So in Putin's mind, he is a mad dog. He is a madman. He would rather destroy an entire country than let somebody get close to him. And this is what we're looking at right now. How does this fit into destroying history? How does this fit into destroying someone's past or destroying what's going on? Because we as a people, or we as in NATO, forgot about our own treaty, forgot about our own promises that we gave to Russia, expecting this madman to still keep his end of the bargain. But yet, we never kept our end of the bargain. We kept annexing people into NATO. We kept getting more and more countries into NATO. Not everyone's going to like that. And apparently, Putin does not. Russia, the president of Russia, does not like that. So he would rather destroy an entire country, set it on fire, cause chaos, just to force someone to actually keep their promise. That's where we're at. That's how you get a country destroyed. You delete, you forget your promises, your history, you forget it all, and then you end up destroying something because of it, or just getting something destroyed. I'm not saying that Putin's in the right for killing. That is completely wrong. You should not do that. However, our hands aren't clean in this. Our hands are not clean in this at all. And if we as a country don't wise up and don't start remembering our past, remembering the things we've said, remembering the things that we've promised, remembering the things that have gone on around us, if we don't start doing this, it's just going to spread. It's a rogue spear that has been thrown across the sky. No one can catch it. And where it lands, it lands. And when it lands, it's going to set ablaze to everything and burn it all up. How far do you want this spear to go? That's your question. You can stop it at its bay, or you can let it keep coming. The only way to stop it is to finally admit the truth. Be honest with yourselves. Be honest with yourselves. Be honest with yourself. Can't keep saying this. Our hands are not clean, and trying to act like our hands as a nation is clean when it comes to something like this, you are only lying to yourself, and you are truly trying to not tell the truth on purpose. These things just don't happen overnight. This is a slow-moving machine. It's a slow-moving machine that if you're paying attention to, you will know what's happening and you will know what's coming. This nation is falling. This nation is completely collapsing, basically on the inside out, because we don't want to admit the truth. We don't want to get clean. We don't want to do what is actually right. We want to destroy our history. And I'm telling you, we are going to repeat it. We will repeated in this nation. We will destroy what we've had, what we've done in the past, what our heritage, what our ancestors have done in the past so greatly. They've made something so great, and we right now will destroy it all because we don't want to stop and admit the truth. This is the truth. Let's start with this. Yes, this country was divided in the past, so much that it started a civil war. Slavery was a big part of it. Then after slavery was abolished. And then came the Jim Crow era. Then after the Jim Crow era came the Civil Rights Movement. After the Civil Rights Movement came the Injustice Movement. And then trying to forget all of that is saying that we are trying to forget what's really going on throughout our lives. We don't care what happened in the past. We don't care what's about to happen to us in the future. And I've been saying this from time and time again. This country is starting once again to get divided just like it was in the past, but it's trying to shape itself into something different, but it's the same ideas. Segregation of the mind is what they are trying to push. And we are all falling for it. Get in line, they say. Pick a side, they say. Not realizing that you're going to only destroy your own brother who decided to pick the other side. You've forgotten what has been going on. You have forgotten what happened in the past. Now I'm telling you right now that this is only going to get worse. Like I said, they said pick a side. One of these sides will get completely destroyed. One of these sides will get completely burned up in flames. Yes, it will happen here if we don't get this right. If we don't stop. I'm a Republican. I am a Democrat. I am liberal. I am a conservative. I am this. I am that. Last time I checked, we were all Americans. Does it take something catastrophic for everybody to finally realize that we actually need to be coming together? Does it take something catastrophic? Does it take a 9/11? Does it take a war in another country and this country is getting destroyed for us to realize we actually need to be coming together? Because as of right now, I can honestly tell you that if a war broke out on this nation would fall apart only because this nation is already divided yet again because we don't know our own history. That's the problem. And I want to somewhat apologize for my tone, but yet it's very irritating to me that nobody can see this. At least our government or people in these high positions, they can't see this. Or if they do see it, they don't care to stop it. We have inflation going up through the roof. Gas is going above $4. This is in Texas. So I know there's a lot of states out there that do listen. There's a lot of people out there that listen to the Island Podcast. You're all in different states. Some of y'all are in different countries. I know this. Texas, we've never seen $4 a gallon for gas. Inflation through the roof. We have containers sitting at the bays, just sitting there of goods that people need. Not just the goods that people want, but the goods that people need. And we're just leaving it there. We're destroying our own education system. You're telling parents, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't discipline inside the home, you can't discipline when they act up outside of the home, you can't do any of this stuff. However, when that child gets older, all you want to do is turn around and shoot them. And then blame the parents saying they act like this because of you. But oh no, by the contrary, they act like this because you threatened the parents to throw them in jail if they decided to actually discipline their child. Then they grew up to become a menace to society. And then you want to turn around and shoot that child. This is the circle that we have gone in. This is the circle that we are doing. Also, by the way, our own morals have gone to crap. Believe it or not, it has gone to crap. I don't care what you are, what you believe in, but if you want to sit here and say that a man should dress like a woman and a woman should dress like a man, there's something wrong. If you want to say there's no such thing as male or female, there is something wrong. But yet we want to sit here and accept it. There's people out there who actually think that there are animals in this country and we want to accept it. It's okay. Then we want to just say, oh, they just think differently. No, that's not differently. That is perversion. If we do not realize this and understand what's going on in this country, we will go down in flames like all the other great nations before us have gone down in flames. The perversion of the Roman Empire. Yes, they stretched out their military might so far that they couldn't keep it up. So they started inflating everything, taxing the people, trying to pave the road so the military can actually get to and fro, back and forth. And it eventually collapsed while they were all having orgies inside of their own capital. Their own morals collapsed on top of them, which then collapsed their own empire, which then collapsed them, the citizens of Rome. Do you think this won't happen in America? I shall take your child and turn it into something bad, pervert their minds, destroy their morals, and then get rid of you. They don't know any better. And those who know better, they stay quiet, or they get shunned, or better yet, what they like to say in today's times in America, they get canceled. Because the truth is something that people don't want to hear. And here's the truth for you. This is the truth. If you think what's going on in Ukraine is bad, let's keep going down the road we're going down in America. And what happens in Ukraine will be 20 times worse in America. The hand of judgment on America is pressing down. It's pressing down until we decide to turn away from this perversion in our own country. It's pressing down until we decide to turn back and realize what we have done to our own children. It's pressing down until we realize that the man needs to come back inside the home. It's pressing down until we realize we have to stop living this lie, this fantasy world. Like I said, I'm very irritated, very upset. I've been saying for many episodes, this nation needs to get cleaned. It needs to clean itself up. It needs to realize where it's headed before it's too late. It needs to realize what's going to happen before it's too late. I hope we do. I hope as a nation we do. Because everything that we see right now just going on, it's going to be worse for us because we as a nation, we know better. We know better. And the last time I checked, for a person who knows better, the consequences are that much greater. Turn back. Turn back. Turn back. This is The Island. I am your host, Alvis Samuel. And this topic, A Nation Falling, is going to continue. Thank you for listening to The Island. I am your host, Alvis Samuel.